And now for our next news special report.
Folks, hold on to your seats. I've got an urgent Trump update on the Democrats' underhanded efforts to clear the 2024 field. The Michigan Supreme Court has just slammed the door on the left's brazen plot to deny voters a choice of candidates by barring Trump from the ballot. But Trump isn't out of the woods yet. This Colorado ruling is still a dangerous precedent, but Trump and his legal eagles are celebrating a huge Supreme Court victory against Special Counsel Jack Smith's abusive prosecutorial overreach. But it gets worse for the out-of-control special counsel. New court filings allege Smith's appointment violates the Constitution itself. Do unelected bureaucrats now get to pick our president? The stakes for America's future couldn't be higher, and we can't allow our sacred elections to be manipulated by a crooked establishment resorting to dirty tricks and bogus legal theories to take out Trump. And that's why you need to watch this special report until the very end. My final thought lays out why these underhanded schemes put all our freedoms in the crosshairs in 2024. My friends, this is only the beginning. Now, before we dive any deeper into this big legal win for Donald Trump, a quick word about our sponsor. At times like these, where it feels like we're trapped in an upside-down world, with Democrats bending laws to banish Trump, we need adventures where good still prevails. So visit drivethrurpg.com and tipsytabbypublishing.com for inventive new PDFs elevating your 5e and Pathfinder campaigns with one-of-a-kind classes like War Mages and Lords or Systems for Lycanthropy and Toxins. Tipsy Tabby takes RPGs to the next level. Check out their quick adventures where your party opposes crooked officials who barred a certain beloved president from the ballot. Legal twists and games are fun, not so much in real America. Now, back to our report. Donald Trump's counteroffensive against the establishment's election subversion schemes. The Michigan Supreme Court has strongly and rightfully denied the desperate Democrat attempt to take the leading 2024 candidate, President Trump, off the ballot in the great state of Michigan. This pathetic gambit to rig the election has failed all across the country, including in historically Democrat-leaning states. The Trump-hating media was forced to report the news. Watch.
Just into us, the Michigan Supreme Court has ruled that Donald Trump will remain on the Republican primary ballot. Obviously, a significant decision here. People have been waiting to see, given the news last week that the Colorado Supreme Court, in a 4-3 vote, voted that he should not appear on the Republican primary ballot. So he will be on that Michigan ballot. Jonathan Lemire.
Now, Colorado is the only state that's fallen prey to this anti-democratic scheme concocted by progressive legal groups aiming to clear the field for their preferred candidate by denying voters choice and suppressing political opposition. As President Trump posted on Truth Social after the victory, we have to prevent the 2024 election from being rigged and stolen like they stole 2020. Just look at the complete mess we have under crooked Joe Biden, who is violently destroying everything from our once great economy to our once fair justice system. We must save America from decline and the radical left. Make America great again. Now, the former president, spot on in his analysis. These desperate maneuvers by the left expose just how afraid they are of another Trump presidency as Biden's approval nosedives. Polls are showing that Trump is trouncing Biden in a hypothetical 2020 rematch as Americans are fed up with crisis after crisis under the Democrats' failed leadership. Far-left legal organizations have pushed lawsuits in over a dozen states, citing the 14th Amendment's prohibition on those engaged in insurrection holding federal office. Never mind the inconvenient fact that Trump has never been charged or convicted of anything related to January 6th. Nevertheless, the Colorado Supreme Court took the unprecedented and outrageous step of preemptively removing Trump from their ballot bases on these frivolous arguments. Thankfully, saner heads prevailed in Michigan, upholding that secretaries of state cannot determine candidates' eligibility under state law. Now, the court rightly concluded resolving disputes over federal elected office qualifications should play out in that arena rather than judicial proceedings. Of course, this likely won't stop more long-shot challenges from Trump-deranged progressives, but 2 wins in 2 days should force Democrats to recalculate this authoritarian anti-democratic strategy going into 2024. And in related news, Trump attorney Alina Habba celebrated the Supreme Court victory against Special Counsel Jack Smith's demand to hastily rule on Trump's immunity claims, circumventing normal judicial process. She pointed out there was no valid urgency despite Smith's brazen attempt to disrupt proceedings and constrain Trump's early campaigning. Watch.
Yeah, it's called election interference. That is 100% what this was. And I'm really pleased with the Supreme Court. It really restored my faith in my profession, frankly. The Supreme Court saw through this. There was no urgent application necessary by Jack Smith. He was trying to usurp the appellate division and go right up to the Supreme Court to have them hear issues of presidential immunity, which is an absolute immunity that presidents have for a very good reason. And frankly, so that they don't have to have DAs and AGs come after them after their presidency in this political witch hunt. And the Supreme Court ruled today that Jack Smith did not have reason to do so. He needed to stay the course, go through the normal procedures as everybody else. He had no urgency, and there was no dissent in the Supreme Court's decision. So it was a very great day for Team Trump, and we'll keep pushing.
You know, of course, the irony, I don't have to tell you, Alina, but just to remind everybody, that would be election interference, as I think you rightly said. He wants to interfere with the election by getting a conviction of Donald Trump before the election from a very favorable court, if he can find one. And ironically, this is a case he's charging Donald Trump with election interference when that's exactly what he's trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. For saying to peacefully and patriotically march, and to say that he wants to look at the election because he believes that the election was stolen. We've seen since January 6th, since this case that is completely politically motivated, we've seen the same judge have to stay her trial pending decisions on immunity, number one. Number two, we've seen that she's treated unfairly. These January 6th people that were arrested, some of them have not been heard in courts yet. So due process, it's really not about what people have done. That's for the courts to decide on a case-by-case basis. But normal due process in America has its place, and we can't try and rush due process when it suits them. They have year-long investigations, and then they brought all these cases, David, right before the election so that he's not on the campaign trail, so that he's out there doing nothing to help his campaign. Instead, what they don't realize, which I think the polls show, is that the more you try and attack Trump, the more you try and tie him up in these witch hunts and court cases, they're going to get stopped, and they're going to be seen by the Americans as an attempt to usurp the GOP and the Republican Party. Well, it's so desperate.
Even Democrats.
She praised the Supreme Court for seeing through the baseless urgency argument and forcing Smith to follow standard appeals procedures like everyone else. She said this reaffirmed Trump's absolute immunity so presidents aren't unfairly prosecuted after leaving office over policy disagreements. So it was a great day for Trump's legal team, and they'll keep exposing the political witch hunt for what it is. Now, Trump's lawyers should savor this victory because there is more devastating news for the rogue special counsel's bogus investigation. 3 prominent conservative legal figures, including former AG Ed Meese, filed stunning amicus briefs alleging Smith's appointment itself violates the Constitution. Their filing contends that Smith cannot legally represent the United States before the Supreme Court because Congress never created the novel position he occupies, making it invalid under the Appointments Clause. Moreover, even assuming the AG could appoint a special counsel as a de facto U.S. attorney, Smith would still require Senate confirmation as a principal officer. So, folks, our entire system of self-governance is under assault from unelected bureaucrats like Smith and the Colorado Supreme Court, trying to override the people's choice for president through authoritarian means. If they succeed in 2024, imagine what they'll try next using these tactics. Our constitutional republic hangs in the balance. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe and smash the notifications to join our community defending liberty against the left's lawfare. The stakes couldn't be higher going into 2024. Now, folks, this coordinated illegal assault on Trump's eligibility is just the opening salvo in the establishment scheme to clear the field in 2024. First, they tried judge shopping to find partisan courts that will toss Trump from ballots on dubious grounds. If that fails, they unleash politicized special counsels to harass Trump with endless investigations. Make no mistake, this is deliberate election interference by Democrats afraid of facing Trump again after the disastrous Biden presidency. They saw the polls showing Trump trouncing Biden in a rematch, so they devised a plan to undermine the overwhelming frontrunner by any means necessary, even if those means violate the Constitution. And these authoritarian tactics disenfranchise half of the country and make a mockery of free and fair elections. If they succeed in 2024, imagine what they'll try next. Our democratic republic hangs in the balance, so patriots cannot let unelected bureaucrats override the people's choice for president. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.